What's up, everybody? DB here. Thought I'd give you a quick real life story about old golf media, which is a hot topic right now going on in the Twitterverse. Now, let me go ahead and preface and say this has nothing to do with Jeff Shackelford, Bob Herrig, or the foreplay guys, or anybody that's been caught up in this wave. But it is a firsthand account of what me and Pat saw at the RSM Classic just a couple of weeks ago. As the Tour Junkies, we got media credentials for the first time ever at the RSM Classic in Sea Island. And it was interesting for us. First of all, we did notice a few things that I think is going around. The first of which is no one really spoke to us other than PGA Tour Sean Martin, very nice guy. Matty Lou Chandler, who has been a friend, also works for the PGA Tour. Other than those people, no one in the media center spoke to us. No one cared to know who we were or introduce themselves, make us feel comfortable. It is very intimidating to walk up in there and interact with those guys. I watch all of the periscopes every Tuesday and Wednesday, the press conferences that go on the PGA Tour Live, where you see the players sit down in front of the media center and they get asked questions. And frequently I think to myself, why in the world are we asking these questions? They're dumb for the most part. We don't really care. A lot of people don't care about these questions. And I think it's an example of the out of touch media that is part of the weekly circus that is the PGA Tour. These guys that travel everywhere the PGA Tour goes for whatever publications. Now, there's obviously good ones. There are exceptions. But we definitely noticed there was a chill in the air when the two new faces walked into the media center. Now, here's where the real kicker happens, and that is during these press conferences. We posted a video of myself asking Zach Johnson a question in the media center. First of all, I tried to ask Charles Howell a question, Lanto Griffin a question, and my question, as I was raising my hand, kept getting bypassed by whoever was facilitating. It wasn't until Matty Lou Chandler finally got us in and let us ask a question to Zach Johnson. Although we were credentialed media just like everybody else, they kept going to the old guard and the old heads in the room that had dumb questions to ask. A couple of the weird questions that we saw players get asked were, okay, this is the last tournament of the decade. What would you say defines the last 10 years of golf? Now, Zach Johnson, Lanto Griffin, Charles Howell were very clearly taken off guard by this question. That you kind of tell they were like, dude, I don't know, like probably Tiger. I mean, the youth of the game. Like, what? Who cares? Like, why are we talking about that? We're not talking about the RSM. We're not talking about something relevant to golf right now. You're not asking me about myself. You're asking me a dumb question. We saw these questions going around, these old guys out of touch, just completely out of touch. They never left the media center. They stayed in the media center. They took advantage of the coffee and bagels and bananas, right? But the one that really sent me over the edge was after the scheduled time for Zach Johnson to be up there. He's walking out. He's trying to leave, and as he's walking out, he steps out of the media center. He's standing outside, and these old heads hit him with a tape recorder or iPhone or whatever in his mouth, and they start asking him other questions, additional questions. One guy in particular sticks around to ask him these heater questions, right? And me and Pat are standing 10 feet away listening to every question, and it is painful to listen to. He asks him this. Yeah, Zach, so let's talk about Augusta National, even though we're standing here in November at the RSM Classic. Let's talk about Augusta National. What's the scariest downhill putt at Augusta? And Zach's like, pfft. So he comes up with something. What's the scariest uphill putt at Augusta? Zach's like, I don't know, comes up with something. Very nice, Zach, very nice, respectful the whole way. Zach, if you could move up any tee box at Augusta National, which one would it be? Zach's like, number 5, duh. If you could move back a tee box at Augusta, what would it be? Zach's like, dude, I don't want to move back a tee box. Why would I want to do that? Just the dumbest questions rattled off, and Zach politely and respectfully hanging around. Like, I don't know about you, but I don't think anybody that follows us cares to read about Zach's answers to those questions. Very out of touch. And me and Pat just looked at each other, shaking our heads, thinking, these poor guys have to suffer through this media every single week in this PGA Tour circus. So while I'm not, Barstool's not really my flavor, but I definitely think there's some changes to come with the way that golf media is handled today. That's just our 2 cents. Enjoy your day. Again, nothing to do with Jeff Shackelford, Bob Herrig, none of that. Like those guys. Don't have any problems with those guys. Love Michael Collins. Love Jason Sobel. Those guys. Love those guys. We just definitely saw something at the RSM that we'd never seen before. Thought we'd share.